There is a technology war out there right now, and most people don't realize it. I don't think people are talking about this, and this is a very strange subject and is very loosely related to Amazon sales. So you're not going to hear like how to grow Amazon sales in this particular podcast, but I felt so strongly after seeing the signs that I wanted to talk about this today so that you are generally warned. You need to think about this topic, in my opinion. My name is Stephen Pope. I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy, and today we're going to talk about the technology war. I'm going to start with some examples because I feel like most people are going to think I'm crazy initially when I talk about the subject. TikTok, great example because it shows how there's a conflict between two nations, China and the United States. So all the government entities are like, yeah, China is infiltrating everything with TikTok and they're taking control of data and they're stealing people's information. And initially what happened on that timeline was like the government's like, hey, nobody can have TikTok installed on their phones. There was leaks about Amazon doing the same thing. And basically eventually the government's like, hey, we're going to ban TikTok or you got to sell this platform. You can't own it, China. And if you think about that, that's never happened before on a technology scale of mass adoption before. This is one large sign of what I'm seeing. There is not a single software application that you can log into right now without them shoving down your throat. Sign up for OTP, one-time password. Have you enabled OTP yet? Well, why is that? And it's because there is so much infrastructure being attacked right now that if you don't have OTP in place, you're guaranteed to have a leak. If you look at the last couple of years, this problem's been escalating, where we've seen, the biggest release of personal information was when one of the credit score agencies got hacked. I use that word loosely, right? They didn't really get hacked so much as their security just sucked, right? And then all of a sudden somebody just ran off with all of our information, your social security number, every credit source that you have available. Identity theft started spiking. They were supposed to pay people money in this big lawsuit. I didn't see a dime. I don't know if you guys did. And the list goes on from there. The OTP situation, and like the catalyst that made me like want to talk about this was when Amazon's own OTP system completely bonkers broke. And this is just one of many things that's been breaking at Amazon, of course. And if you've been listening to the podcast, you're like, okay, Steven's talking about things breaking at Amazon yet again. I get it. But this one's very unique. This is a very unique angle. So I have an agency with 30 employees, and half of my agency is in the Philippines. So I had created this very intricate way of having everybody log into our accounts, right? So I would have half of my accounts on one email address and half on another email address. And then I would have every OTP code transfer over into my Google Voice text messages, and then I would auto forward that to the entire organization. And then I had the whole organization create a filter where it would go into a folder so it didn't spam their inbox. And then anytime you needed an OTP, you check the folder, boom. Nobody had to talk to anybody to log into Amazon. It was fantastic. I was so thrilled about how smart I was, quote unquote, to set this up and to make super efficiency. Like I am a guy who just loves efficiency. I hate any efficiency. 30 seconds a day of wasted time adds up kind of guy. And then you times that by 30 employees, and that really adds up. And my 30 seconds might be somebody else's 2 minutes, just from technology woes. So I had triggered all of these OTPs to go through an email system, and the moment an employee wasn't an employee anymore, they didn't get it because I took away their email access, you name it, so it was fine from a security standpoint. Well, a couple weeks ago, Amazon started capping the number of OTPs to a receipt of a particular phone number to 40, and you no longer saved your saved login if you switch logins. So I have multiple emails across our couple hundred accounts that we manage, and so everybody's switching emails constantly, and so it would trigger an OTP, and by 9 a.m., boom, all 40 OTP codes were used, and we couldn't get in any further. And so, of course, there's many different workarounds we attempted. We had, use Chrome browser for one login, use Internet Explorer for another, although, hey, IE is going away. Nobody cares about IE. Firefox for a third login, you get the idea. But it just wasn't a perfect system, and when half my employees are logging in at the time I want to go to sleep, I did not want my Slack blowing up with, hey, I need a code for logging into this email address. Just wanted me to punch my fist through the wall in aggravation. So I saw that as another big, giant sign. I personally, and then I also had, I have a Discover card, and I got hit with the, hey, our system's been breached email, right? And we've seen a lot of that lately. A month ago, Google started sending me emails about all of the collaboration that they have with all the password leaks. So if your email is on a particular system and you have a saved password with them, they know that your email and password has been compromised, and then they send you a notice, and then you can review your security protocols. Like, that is a great service. Good job, Google, on that. But also very alarming, because this free service is now trying to say, hey, go change all these passwords. So if you don't currently have a password manager in place, I got to tell you, this is something you have to jump on right now. I like both LastPass and Google Password Manager. I wouldn't trust anything else. If you got like a Samsung phone, do not trust Samsung. Do not trust any company that's not, their primary job isn't data. Do not trust them. I guarantee you that every technology system in the next 1 or 2 years is going to get hacked. All of them. Every single one of them. But because Google has invested, I don't know, I'm making this up, billions of dollars probably, into having their own dedicated internet lines and everything else and security and protocols, they are probably going to be like their own nation state at some point and able to defend their turf. Well, everything else crumbles. I mean, you look at the United States technology infrastructure right now, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say this, probably going to offend a few people, but the people who have the least amount of technology skills are running our government's technology sector. I'm talking about at the federal level, the state level, etc. They're the lowest paying security jobs, and quite frankly, I wonder if the government also wants us to not have good security, so that problems happen, and then they ram down the Patriot Act down our throats, and hopefully that's not a polarizing issue. I think everybody should be anti-Patriot Act, and if you don't know anything about that, it's basically a way for the government to spy on us. Not a good thing. And we even saw a couple years back, Apple was fighting the FBI to unlock a phone, and that case went national and viral and whatnot. So all of these things are adding up. I have never seen this amount of commotion before in the technology space. And Amazon, even in like a month or two ago, they had their big Accelerate conference, and they announced that they suspended 2.5 million accounts this year for potential fraud. Now, I bet you 500,000 of those were probably actually like authentic sellers that just got screwed by Amazon's system. Every single day we are getting in emails about bad false suspensions. They are really terrible. But in any case, seeing 2.5 million accounts suspended, that, Amazon just kind of like mentioned that in passing at Accelerate, and they're like, yeah, we're trying to protect the customers, and we suspended 2.5 million accounts. Whoa, that's a lot of accounts. So if there's 2.5 million fraud accounts being opened in 2020 alone, that tells you how bad the problem is getting. And if I seriously went through my entire software stack right now, every single software website program has been ramming OTP down our throats. And so when I picture this all together, a few podcasts ago I mentioned that I felt like the taxi driver of e-commerce, and this is very much in line with that theme where I don't actually know anything. I'm just making the taxi driver observation where I'm like, okay, I've seen 20 different OTP systems get into my taxi cab, and they're like, hey, take me to OTP land. And I drive them to OTP land, and they get out, and they're like, cool, thanks for taking me to OTP lands. And every single ride for the past couple weeks has been going to OTP land. Well, as a taxi driver in this metaphor here, it's very obvious something's going on at this OTP building location, and there is, quite frankly, I'll go ahead and say it, there is a technology Cold War going on right now. And the winner is probably going to be China. That's not a good thing. And I think we will finally see some polarization lashback. Like currency war, yeah, like you, me at home, we didn't really feel that war, right? Like we did in the sense that, our cheap products are coming from China and our manufacturing industry has been destroyed for the past few decades, but it didn't directly correlate to quote unquote suffering. I believe this tech Cold War that we're entering right now is going to cause suffering. You are going to have your identity stolen, and you're going to have your systems hacked. If you currently have a password that's like first letter capitalized, word, exclamation point, that is bad. Like right now, go and change that. Go do the auto-generated security codes that are like 12 digits long from LastPass or Google Password and get that crap fixed and have one password per account. Do not share a password on any single account. Your bank, your credit card, your Amazon Seller Central account, nothing. And if you have shared your passwords with anybody on any platform, you need to be very careful. And you need to mitigate your risks. Now, the nice thing about Seller Central is that anybody who logs into your account can be given a secondary user invite and take advantage of that. So at My Amazon Guy, we do not like logging into a super admin of an account. Now, we have to set up any sort of API connections, right? If we're setting up like a Helium 10 or a Feedback Wiz connection, we have to log into the super admin, but we don't like doing it. And kind of the direction we're heading is setting up a Zoom screen share call where we just walk the client through it instead of logging in ourselves. So we don't like logging or sharing passwords. We like having our own user infrastructure so that we can keep our own data protected as well as our clients' data protected. As another case example of this, really shady agencies out there will register brand registry under their own email addresses, making it impossible for you as the brand owner to control it. And I have never done that. Like, never ever done that. It is really terrible if you do not have control of your own brand registry. And I know it's a little off topic, so I'm going to move on. But we've also seen 5G roll out this year. Now, there's a ton of conspiracy theories about how that's related to COVID. I want to be very clear. I think that crap is crazy. I am not a conspiracy theorist. I am trying to make this podcast about, man, I'm noticing all of these tech issues clear across the web. We've also seen Amazon's system just completely crumble in the last 60 days. I don't know if these two things are correlated, but they definitely feel like something is connected. And so I'm making the taxi driver observation that something is happening. And then I know that we've seen in the news about the Tick-Tock scenario, and I know that China will do anything it can to put food on the table for its citizens, and they want to be the powerhouse in control. We also saw the control of the internet get ceded from the United States, and now it's more of this international collaboration. And so all of these things are not good for the United States, and some might argue it's better for the world, but here in the United States, definitely not best for us. and in preparation for doing this podcast, I didn't read any articles. I just gave it real, just like how I've seen it. But I do have up on my screen an October 1st article from the New York Times. I just pulled it up, and it reads, tensions between China and the U.S. have climbed ever higher in recent months, with clashes over Chinese tech companies becoming a huge flashpoint. David Sanger, I don't know how to say that, the Times national security correspondent, joined us for a DealBook debrief call with readers to discuss the battle between Washington and Beijing over tech companies like Huawei and Tic-Toc. Oh, that reminds me, the Huawei scenario. And I'm trying to remember this off the top of my head, but basically there's certain phones that have chips in them that like China has like totally corrupted. Bad stuff. So some of the highlights from that article: would you let the Chinese or Russians build your F-35 fighters? And of course the answer to that is no. Tick-Tock, you don't depend on for keeping your economy running in times of conflict. Huawei will control 40% of the world's telecommunications. That's a really alarming statistic. The Trump administration may have persuaded Britain to bar Huawei from its 5G networks, and Europe may also take a harder line on the Chinese telecom equipment maker. So, like, I just, like, randomly pulled this up, and it's completely topical to what we're talking about, like this inside tech war, tech Cold War specifically. And so the reason why you might call it a Cold War versus, like, an actual hot war, I guess, I don't even know what you'd call a hot war, but it's basically where there's like two ships passing in the night and they're firing at each other, but they're not like trying to ram each other, and they're not going to board each other, and they're not going to send pirates with swords clashing metal onto your boat, but they're definitely going to do some stuff like, I don't know, leave landmines, ocean mines, whatever the equivalent is to that, in the ocean trying to damage your boat. And they're going to send bacteria eating wood to, make your boat sink. Like, that's the kind of things that happen in a Cold War, where it's like, hey, I'm going to damage you, but I don't want to get caught because I don't want to escalate this, but I also want to win, and I don't want you to know, but I know you know. And that's the kind of Cold War I think we're entering. So, and if you listen to this and you're like, okay, that's cool, but what do I do about it? I think I've been very clear on that, but as a really strong double push on this, control your passwords, reset them all, have a LastPass in place or a Google Password Manager at the very least. Do enable those OTP systems, as dang annoying as they are. Go ahead and bite the bullet on them and have them enabled. Amazon is a tech leader, and they had OTP in place long ago. I don't even know how long ago, maybe 2 years ago. And everybody else is now catching up to them. And that's when you know that crap is about to hit the fan. So my name is Stephen Pope. I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy. I really appreciate you guys listening to me on this random technology subject, but I think it affects us all. And if tech starts going haywire, your Amazon sales can definitely be affected. Even though it's not directly correlated, I still felt like so strongly I had to speak about this. Do your own research and see what you're seeing out there on this technology fight. I'm going to end with a testimonial I had with a coaching call today. Thank you very much for listening. My name is Stephen Pope. I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy. What's been your experience with My Amazon Guy?
Yeah, I experienced a serious problem today. My listing was blocked due to negative customer experience, even though that the experience was actually not that bad, but for some reason there was a problem that popped up and I was not able to solve it. During just 30 minutes, Stephen was able to solve the problem, so I was really amazed how quickly it was done. So Stephen knows a lot of tricks that there are absolutely not obvious how to do it. Yeah, that was an amazing experience. I'm really grateful to Stephen for solving this. This probably solved me, I don't know how long time it would take if I did it through Amazon, because I created a case and I waited for almost half a day and no response from Amazon. So that is really grateful. That was really a great job.
And we can help you too. Book a coaching call today with My Amazon Guy to help grow your sales and improve your traffic and conversion rates.